So I figured we call this Who You Gonna Call? Maybe,
yeah.
Who you gonna call? Not us.
We won twice.
We did, and it was funny because that reminds me of in the opening of the Casper movie from the 90s. You remember that movie? Casper, the Friendly Ghost? It was all CG.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Say what you want. It's got Christina Ricci in it, and Bill Palmer. And anyway, so at the beginning, they're having like all these people come in and trying to get rid of the ghost in this mansion because Eric Idle is like this assistant to this other person. I forget the actress's name, but they're trying to get rid of the ghost, which Casper and his cousins. Anyway, so they have an exorcist show up. He gets his head twisted around. He's like, no, it's no problem. It's okay. Yeah, I can't do this. And then they cut to, it's a montage, and they cut to Dan Aykroyd coming out in his Ghostbusters outfit, but it's not really Ghostbusters. And he's got a mustache on, and he's like, who are you going to call? Not us. It's fun. You watch it. Your kids will like it.
I never saw that.
It's such a good movie. The CG's not too bad still from the time it came out. Welcome to Pause Button with Storytime Gamer and Bob,
a weekly podcast covering gaming news, reviews, and all things geek.
I'm your host, Storytime Gamer, also known as Eric, and I stream a variety of games on my YouTube channel, StorytimeGamer.com, with a focus on story-driven games, role-playing, and horror games. I also love anything from 80s and 90s pop culture.
And I'm Bob, bringing you games you can chill to. Survival crafting, factory management, and open-world RPGs. Anything you can play while listening to a podcast, an audiobook, or watching Netflix.
Send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast so you always have the latest episode for when you need to step back from life and press pause.
All right, let's get to the show. Eric, we just got off about a 2-hour Phasmophobia play session. I can't wait to talk about it.
Me either.
You want to get into the news a little bit?
Yeah, it's so much energy, so much fun playing that. It was the first time I played with anybody online. It is such a great experience. But yeah, we'll definitely have to deep dive into our experience with that. It ups and downs with the news this week. You know, it's kind of like a meh news week, which is not a bad thing. But
we needed a break.
Yeah, I think the biggest
we needed a break from all the hard-hitting news.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about the biggest thing that probably was in the news this week with a certain plumber we know?
Yeah, the Mario World trailer, Mario movie.
Yeah, the Mario movie trailer was released.
We haven't talked about trailer. It, so I actually don't. Yeah, I actually don't know what your position is on it.
My position, I couldn't tell that it was Jack Black as Bowser, which was surprising. So, I mean, I think that's
yeah. I was like, that voice sounds familiar. Yeah, and I love Jack Black.
So that's a good thing. But then it sounded like Chris Pratt as Mario. There was like one little line he gave in the thing that sounded a little like Mario. I don't know if there's some sort of legal thing that with Nintendo and the actual Mario voice actor, like you can't sound like him or try to impersonate him. But that has been the biggest reaction I've seen from other people on the internet, where they're comparing the voice dubs in other languages, and they sound more like Mario apparently than the Chris Pratt. But besides that, I mean, I'm interested. It looks like it could be fun.
I feel like, first of all, I feel like Chris Pratt created like a false expectation on this when he said that this voice was going to sound like unlike anything you've ever heard. Remember when he said that?
Yeah.
And it was, people were like, it's going to sound like unlike anything we've ever heard. I mean, that's quite a strange claim to make. And really, it's just his voice. Dude, I'm not a huge like animated cartoon fan or anything like that. Yeah. This movie looked fun. It looked awesome. Yeah. I thought Bowser's great. Seeing the Koopas kind of animated was awesome. When those penguins came out and they were just like awesome, and they threw those snowballs and oh man, and that the the tension, the way it broke the tension there, and then Bowser just blasts their castle. I just thought, this is great. And it's almost like an origin story because you see the plumber come out of the pipe, and then this mushroom guy is like, hey, don't touch that mushroom. It felt like the Lego movie. Remember when you said you hope that it's kind of got the humor of the Lego movie? It was great. I thought it was great. I'm gonna watch it. I think it hits a lot of notes for people like me that grew up on Mario. Mm-hmm. I was completely satisfied with it.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on the Mario movie, but also the Mario TV show, the both versions. One was with the live action that had like just people dressed up as Mario and Luigi, and then special guests popped up.
Your hands from side to side.
It's time to do the Mario.
Do the Mario.
I will still watch it to this day just because it's nostalgia, terrible nostalgia. But I mean, you got that. You had the Link cartoon, and you also had Captain N come out of this. All these great things. But anyway, I'm getting off topic for another thing. But that was fun. And then the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon was great. So this will be fun. I think it'll redeem himself. Sonic did well, so I feel like it'll do fine. I want to see more. Yeah. This is the whole thing of like teaser or teasing a tease, and I think we really need to hear the voice of what Mario sounds like, and then Luigi and everybody else. So I don't know
no one is going to be satisfied with the voice, and we don't want Mario to sound like in the games, because Mario in the games didn't really talk. He was just like every now and then he would say something. But he needs to have a whole character. He needs to have a whole like script. We can't listen to Mario from the games talk for an hour and a half. He needs to have a regular voice. Just get over it.
I hope that the colorful characters that are along with him give him that breath of, he doesn't have to do much. It could be just like a couple lines, maybe like Groot. It's Vin Diesel as Groot, and it's
he is definitely going to have to say, "It's a me." A Mario,
right? There's
no question he's got to say that.
I trust Illumination Entertainment. They always make a good product, I think, when it comes to a kids cartoon, and also with adult humor or some sort of fun thing. So I'm excited. I'm going to the theaters. I'm going to take my kids. I'm going to enjoy it. So
there you go.
There's that. So to be determined, I think, on what to really judge on it. But I'm eager to see more, regardless of Chris Pratt's voice or not. So
you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it. So another big thing, I guess it was big or whatever, but there's apparently a Horizon Zero Dawn remake in the works.
I'll play it. I'll play it again.
Yeah,
I'll play it for a third time.
I'd play it, but will you pay $70 for it?
I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn already looked so good.
Right.
It's a fantastic looking game. And I'm pretty sure it was already at 60 frames per second on the PS5.
Nope.
I really don't know how they're going to make it. Now, maybe if they bring some new content, or they do what they did with Last of Us and like bring the mechanics from Forbidden West in or something. Give me something different to do. If I'm going to pay $70, it can't just be the same game with different visuals.
See, that was the thing. I thought they were going to do that with The Last of Us Part 1, but they didn't with the mechanics. They just kept it the same mechanics. It was just they just rebuilt it with the original stuff and textured. And so I have not pulled the trigger on buying that game, unfortunately. I want to play it again, but it's kind of like, there's nothing that's really driving me to pay $70 for it. Just like Horizon Zero Dawn. Granted, it's been, 2 years at this point since I last played it. I've only played it once through. So I'd pony up $40 for a good remake. Because I loved it.
Have they said it's going to be 70?
No, they haven't put a price point on it, but it's just the question of will it be $70 or not?
Yeah, even at 40, I need it because it was, like I said, already such a good looking game. I need to know that there's going to be more in there for me.
Right. No, I hear you. I love the story. And that was the one, spoilers for everybody, with the sequel, the story was very weak, in my opinion. The main story.
For the first one or the second one?
Forbidden West.
Yes, I agree. That it suffers from this phenomenon where you have a TV show like Stranger Things, where it starts out and there's like a big mystery.
Yeah.
And then in the course of season 1, you find out what the mystery is. There's a place called the Upside Down, and it has a monster in it, and the girl has magical powers, right?
Yeah.
Or psychic powers. And then they're like, hey, remember that show that you loved last year? And you're like, yeah, Stranger Things. It had like a big mystery. And they're like, yeah, we're going to make another one. And then you're like, well, yeah, but I already know the mystery. And they're like, yeah, but there's going to be more mystery. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened with Forbidden West, because you're like, why are these dinosaurs out here? And they explain it. And they're like, well, we're going to make another one. And you're like, well, I already know what the dinosaurs are all about. And they're like, yeah, but you don't know what we have coming next. There's going to be space dinosaurs.
But we didn't get that.
Well, you kind of did. You kind of those. What are those things called? The space
ships?
Monsters.
Yeah. The ship.
Not the ships. They are ship. The creatures. They're not dinosaurs.
Right.
Yeah.
No. See what they should have done. I don't know. We stayed to the United States, but honestly, it'd been nice. What they need to do with the third one is we go across the world. Honestly. They need to make it a little bit broader.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, though. I mean, for me, I loved the first one because of the mystery. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. No,
then you find out what's happening. You're like, oh, okay. And you have this nice story arc. And then they try to continue it. And,
Yeah. I think what the problem is, they need to keep it more grounded to where it was compared to expanding on what they did. And I kept thinking about Death Stranding while I was playing it. It's like the same game engine, but in Death Stranding, you're over the entire United States trying to connect it with the strandings and stuff. But anyway,
I mean, that's the problem, is they have to take the game in a new direction. And I don't, it's interesting what they did with what are the people called? The Eternals or whatever that came from another planet.
From Marvels? Oh, you mean the Far Zenith?
Yeah. You find out what they are, and then now you're just kind of in a space opera kind of situation. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I kept thinking about Mass Effect. Honestly, Mass Effect 2's ending, which I loved Mass Effect 2. That's my favorite one. And they kept, it felt very trite, and I was very disappointed. Especially with Silence kind of like, oh, well, we're going to be frenemies instead of like very distant enemies. Like, oh, we're on the same side.
Yeah.
It felt very like shoved and pushed. I'm like, oh my God, why?
Yeah.
And I kept saying that it's Captain Planet. This is what this is Captain Planet. Aloy is Captain Planet, and everyone else is the Planeteers. You have Gaia, the computer. Anyway, it's the same. It's like they decided to recycle it.
Well, and they had a lot of bloat in that game. They're like, go catch these little drones so you can apply different effects to this dome that you never need to be in except to get story beats.
Right. And I've been watching my girlfriend play it. And she's amazing at it. She's been playing it. I've actually enjoyed watching her play it because she doesn't go on a mount. She just walks everywhere. And it makes me thinking like, okay, instead of going on a mountain, fast traveling, you get more of the world. And she's just going around killing things. I'm like, all right. And it's fun to watch her do that and then do the random missions. Yeah. She has some of the same gripes we do about the mechanics and the gameplay, but it's actually kind of refreshing to be like, just don't care about the main story. Enjoy the game. So there we go. And what's interesting about these rumors is the Bloodborne fans are pissed that their remake is not even in the works or announced.
Well, not as many people like your game, so just be quiet and wait.
But I would pay $70 for a Bloodborne remaster versus Horizon. I never played I played a little bit of Bloodborne. I watched someone else play it and beat it. I would pay buku money for it to look like Elden Ring. If
That's
not
interesting.
Better.
When I hear about someone that loves a game that much, I want in on it. Like, I want to love something that much, and people love Bloodborne.
Yes.
It didn't click with me. I loved Elden Ring.
Right.
I would love to love it. Maybe a remaster would get me into it.
Yeah, maybe. And the thing, like,
now I'm kind of mad.
Well, that's the game that really deserves it more than Horizon, I think. But I mean, it's a PlayStation title. What doesn't need actually, here's what I'm mad about. Metal Gear Solid has yet to have its remaster, and that's Konami's fault. But that needs to come out 4K.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, all right. Well, I think that's a whole other thing we think we talk about. Anyway, so there's that. So Bloodborne people are pissed. Deadspace remake gameplay trailer finally came out, and yes, I'm finally getting excited about it. Did you get a chance to watch it?
No, actually haven't. I need to.
Yeah, they've been teasing. The company's been teasing like for a whole year or more. The game. They've been teasing the game. They've been showing here's the mechanics. Here's how the sound works. And it's like all this behind the scenes stuff. Like, this is great, but I don't see a game here. I'm worried. You know, I know you have to have the bones on it, but then they showed the gameplay. I'm like, all right, I'm excited about it now. It looks really cool. Really realistic. I forget if it's Unreal 5 they're using or not, but it looks amazing. That comes out in end of January. So I'll have Callisto Protocol to play before that in December, and then this to play like a month later. So this will be fun to play and compare. And I just finished up the Deadspace 2 replay, which if you haven't gotten a chance to look at it, watch it, storytimegamer.com, look at it. It's really good. I think I did a good job playing through it.
I've been watching some of those, yeah. Deadspace is a game that, like, at the time it came out, there must have been something else I was interested in because I played like a demo or the first little bit of it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and I moved on. And it's a game I will go back to when the remake is out.
See, I was a naysayer because I'm like, they're copying Resident Evil 4, which I loved Resident Evil 4 at the time. And the developers like, yeah, we love Resident Evil 4. So we kind of mimicked some of that, you know, that kind of style. But the use of the HUD where there's no HUD, it's just on Isaac Clarke and on his gun for all the information. That it's like, that's it. And I love how that's bare minimum. So that way your screen's not full of a bunch of like information. It's just like, oh, it's on his health bar's on him. His gun shows the ammo. That's all you need to know. All right. You mentioned, it looks like you have an article linked to the collector's edition. Did you want to talk about that?
No, just It was notable. Actually, what happened this week was you and I collected all of our news articles, and we all had the same articles. So this is really just a kind of a repeat. Oh, we have like all the same articles from different news sources, so we can move on.
Okay. Future plans from CD Projekt Red. They had a kind of a tweet announcement of what they're all doing, which I have to just say, meh. I hate they're trying to do the Marvel approach. Like, here's, you know, what we're doing movie wise, but it's going to be years before you get to touch it.
The CD Projekt Red cinematic universe.
Yeah, and I'm like, where's my Witcher 3 next gen remaster that you keep promising and dangling in front of me like a carrot? And where's that? Bring it to me. I don't care about the other games just yet. Show me what we got now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want more in the Witcher universe. Actually, I mean, The Witcher 3 was such a quality game. I want to experience that again, but I want it with all like the mystery that was in the first game. You know, I've replayed The Witcher. And it's great, but give it to me. I want to re-experience it for the first time. Right.
Well, so here's what it is. Project Hadar is a new IP, so I'm curious to see what that is. Granted, that we won't see that for probably 5 years at this rate. Project Sirius is a Witcher game from the Molasses Flood, which I don't know who that is. Project Polaris, new Witcher trilogy from CDPR. So I hope it's not a prequel, because prequels kind of can be hit or miss. I'd rather build upon, but I guess we'll see. Maybe it would be with Ciri, which would be great. We'll find out. Project Canis Majoris, story-driven open-world Witcher RPG from a third party. That'll be interesting. Depending on how that is. Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk 2077 expansion. We've already seen a tease for that. And then Project Orion is a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, which, for their sakes, I hope the sequel is like using the game engine they have now, and they're just updating graphics and everything else. Like they don't need to do anything else but like use everything they have now.
Yeah.
Change a few textures, change up a new map, and that is all, right?
Use the platform you've got and just get us some new content on it. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I mean,
you don't have to rebuild it. It's like, it's good as it is. Just
I would respectfully like to ask for flying cars. I think there should be flying cars.
Yeah, instead of you just riding it, you can fly it yourself. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep.
So that's CD Projekt Red. They released, because it's that time, it's near release time for Gotham Knights, 20 minutes of gameplay. It was like Red Hood and Robin doing a Harley Quinn mission.
What do you think?
Meh. It looks like Spider-Man, which that's not always a bad thing, but at the same time, because Spider-Man took some of the things that Batman did with the fighting combat system, where, you know, you have the counter and attack, but it felt like Spider-Man using Spider-Man powers. This looks like they're using superpowers and weird things that just is just weird for the characters, which I know they're trying to expand it, but it just doesn't feel right, like watching it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, this game has struggled to get people excited about it.
Yeah, they keep running these press tours, and I feel like sometimes, like if you keep showing too much stuff because you know something's up with the game, or you're just worried about sales, it'll probably do well sales wise. The question is, glitches and how well it plays and how well people play it, or keep up with it. It just, nothing seems compelling about it. It seems kind of cheesy. All this stuff of like all four of them hanging out the hangout. It's gone from that fun, dark, broody, mature rating setting to like TV show CW thing, even if it has some mature stuff.
I just get the whiff of microtransactions. I just feel like this game is going to try to sell you cosmetics, and that's where they've put their creative energy, and not on the story and the gameplay and the characters. I can't explain it. My spidey sense is tingling.
Yep. Madden NFL 23 is just still not doing well. It's problems push fans to the breaking point for Madden 23. It's been a month since it released, and there's glitches and saves being lost. All these horrible things that shouldn't be happening, especially when it's a game that, it's almost a cut and paste. They say they worked it from the ground up, but it's a game that's a cut and paste of how these games are.
One player wrote in an email to Kotaku, "It spits on the grave of the man who graces the cover."
Oh, yeah, I bet it does. And this goes back to when we were talking about sports ball. Like this it's sad. When you can't get a good sports game out, even for the fans, like no one wants to play it. So I wouldn't be surprised if the price drops quickly. And you know where most of that money goes to? The franchise. NFL names, the Madden empire.
I did not know that John Madden died last year, December 28th.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that he wasn't here to see this abomination.
He might come back from the grave.
Right.
Haunt these people.
Maybe there'll be a John Madden level in Phasmophobia.
Ooh.
That would be awesome. Like a haunted football field.
Oh, yeah. In the locker rooms and stuff.
Or like a haunted EA game development studio.
Oh God, that would be pretty creepy. All the poor souls there. Apparently, the $70 Skyrim Anniversary Edition on Switch runs like crap. Would you pay $70 for an Anniversary Edition of Skyrim for the Switch?
Wait, Skyrim's already on Switch.
Yeah, but this is the Anniversary Edition.
So the Anniversary Edition is worse? Like,
it's
everyone
glitchy.
loved the Skyrim that's on Switch?
Apparently, the frame rates are crap. It crashes. So it's essentially, this is a game that should never be running on a Switch. But to me, I feel like Switch should be Xbox 360 graphics. Essentially, tech and time wise. But
man, the Switch needs a hardware upgrade.
Oh, it does. And I'm surprised we haven't seen like 4K Switch with, XX amount of power, because that's what needs to happen. Nintendo needs to release another, like a Switch Pro, honestly. I would buy one. I love my Switch. I love it for on the go.
Being a few weeks into having a Steam Deck, I am not really wanting to play 3D type games like this on a small screen.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I know some people do.
No, like I bought, like for this past summer, I went on vacation. I actually bought the BioShock games because I love them so much. And I was like, it's going to be on the small screen, but at least I get to kind of play them. But it's different, and it's a little harder. It's not as fun. I'll like being able to mount it or put it on the little dock and play it on the bigger screen. Just because that's how I like to play my games, and so it's really hard. That's a really hard game for small screen. I imagine Skyrim's similar. And that's it for my news articles.
I think I just had a couple that weren't duplicated. The Starfield release date was updated on the Steam database, indicating a possible launch in late 2023. Like, okay, I mean, people are just starved for Starfield news, so I'll take it.
See, I thought this was released already.
Starfield?
Yeah, this is Starfield. This is the... Oh, wait, no, this is... I think I was thinking of another game. I'm sorry. Like, another Star game. open sky.
Yeah, I mean,
I forget what it was.
When we saw that Starfield demo earlier in the summer, I think people were thinking, like, this thing is not ready to go. And people were kind of thinking 2024.
But they promised,
so, I don't know.
They said a year from when they showed that, like, it's going to be, all these games will be available in the next year.
Yeah,
so
they're liars.
They have a big promise to break. So is it going to be glitchy as hell? Probably.
I want it to be good.
Oh, Forever Skies. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, now that is a... They released a demo that lets you play for 20 minutes and has a timer ticking down. And oh gosh, I mean, this is a survival crafting game, very similar to Subnautica, only instead of being in a submarine underwater, you're in an airship way up in the air on a kind of decimated planet, and it is right up my alley.
Ooh.
So you kind of get the first part of the demo. You start and you have to get your airship working to find these little materials. You get to build the engine, you get the fuel, you launch, you take off your airship, and it says, hey, we're going to kind of leave you in this sandbox world, but you have 20 minutes. Like, what? And so you go around, you start exploring. I was just building onto my ship to add an extra room, and my time ran out.
No.
I want to play some more. So it's supposed to be out this year. No date has been announced. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Sweet. Exciting. All right. So that's it for the news. Games we've been playing.
Oh, this.
So you kind of talked about your Forever Skies demo.
Yeah, I played that. I've been playing a bunch of Vampire Survivors on Steam Deck. I've been really busy, so I'll get done with work. I'll go on the back porch and I'll play for 30 minutes to an hour, listen to a podcast. And I've been going back to Vampire Survivors. It's kind of my comfort food.
Yeah. I'm late in the game to a lot of games because I got, as I said, mentioned before, I got my gaming PC from my partner girlfriend, and I love it. So I've been playing a bunch of things that I haven't been able to play before and recording them. They Are Here. Did you hear about this one? They Are Here. It's an alien abduction first-person scary game.
Oh no!
God, it's terrifying.
Oh really?
I forget if you remember or not, but I always tell people that get to know me that I call it irrational, but some people might think it's irrational fear of grays. Like for some reason, it just creeps me out. Like even right now, I'm getting like the heebie-jeebies talking about them.
This looks awesome. So you won't watch Fire in the Sky, I guess.
I will watch Fire in the Sky. Just if I need to watch something afterwards to help. I have a crazy overactive imagination. So watching, Fire in the Sky, watching X-Files, shit like that as a kid growing up probably did not help this fear or whatever. So like that is the thing that creeps me out the most.
You know what this looks like?
What?
It looks like Phasmophobia, but with aliens is what it looks like.
Sort of. Like, yeah, you walk around and you're trying to investigate, and then you're trying not to get caught by an alien. It's a little setup. It's not like an unpredictable AI that's going to get you. It seems like it's pretty neat. It's pretty what's the word? Staged on what's going to happen to you after playing it, but it's creeped me out. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have to play it during the daytime and probably for short amounts of time, if that. Or might have to just watch someone else play it, but it creeped me out.
If you look at the Steam page, they've got a little short video down a little bit down the page that shows like a cornfield, and you see a creature walk, through.
Yes, it was pretty.
And it reminds me of watching Signs in the theater.
Yeah, no, they did a good job. Yeah.
Oh man. No, they did. You see that alien leg in the cornfield for the first time.
No, this did well. This did well. So I give them props for creep factor. It might not be everyone's
on my wish list.
Not everyone's fear, but I believe they exist. So it's just still pretty creepy. I did the Radio Station, which it's from an indie Japanese developer, so it's like a Japanese horror game. So it's got Japanese culture and stuff in it, and I liked it. I recorded that, and I enjoyed it. I got one of the, I guess, harder to get endings. The second ending, I didn't get the best ending, I guess, but I got a good ending out of it. And then something I've been playing offline is StarCraft Remastered. because I love it. And then they have a remastered version for me to play on my gaming PC, and I love it. I've gone through the Terran, in StarCraft 1, or the non-expansion. I've gone through all the Terran levels, and now I'm on Zerg, and it's just so fun to go back and play it.
So I have a question about that. I was one of the people that bought Warcraft Remastered and then returned it. Because I don't know if you remember that. It was a giant debacle because the remastered version was like identical to the original. But one of the reasons I was so disappointed with it is you can't zoom out.
Oh.
I just feel like in a modern, back then, 20 years ago, you were locked in really close to the units. Well, I want to zoom out. I got a giant screen now and my huge computer. Right. I want to zoom way out. And it looks like you can zoom way out in StarCraft Remastered. Is that your experience? You
can't zoom out as much as I feel like you can. You can zoom in, which is nice. All the models are just magnificently redone. Even the little animated models in the bottom and during the cutscenes are all remastered, redone, better audio, better music. Like, I think the music was re-recorded and remastered. It's really good. I'm enjoying that. That's definitely a better experience than what they did for Warcraft. So I give that a 3 thumbs up, because I wish I had another hand for another thumbs up.
How much was it? I may check that out.
I forget how much. I was like, maybe $20.
It's not new though. StarCraft Remastered came out a while ago, right?
Yeah, it came out a while ago. I'm just late in the game, so that's why I'm late to all these. But these are good, so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to play catch up. So that's the games we've been playing. We're going to talk about Phasmophobia here in just a second, but let's cover the shows and movies and TV shows we've been watching.
Yeah, this isn't something I'm watching, but I saw a news article about Emily Watson and Shirley Henderson to star as Harkonnen siblings in the Sisterhood of Dune, and it just got my... And they are specific that this is Villeneuve... How do you say his name?
Yeah.
Vanilla Man?
Yeah.
It's his Dune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking for his name.
It's... Dune
and I want more of his Dune all day.
Dune is definitely a predecessor to how Game of Thrones is. It is Game of Thrones in space before Game of Thrones existed. You could say Game of Thrones is the medieval version of Dune, essentially. Because you can compare the first Game of Thrones book, Game of Thrones, with the first Dune book, and they read and feel very similar, which is a great thing. So I applaud it for that to happen. But yeah, I can see how Dune could become kind of like a Game of Thrones, but sci-fi. That becomes, we go out of dark fantasy to dark science fiction. Like Andor is dark science fiction, gritty.
Yes. And dark stuff is my jam. Dark sci-fi, dark fantasy, dark. The darker the better. And that's why Andor's so good. Andor is so good. I was telling you before we started that Andor is the one that you're watching, you're completely engrossed, and when you see those credits go up, you're just like, no,
right?
Please don't end.
No, yeah, it's good, and it keeps going, and it's not like a horrible. I have to rip up Lord of the Rings here in a second, but with Andor, it's so good. You want to keep watching. It's well shot, well acted. It gives a different flavor, and it's interesting to see these characters like Mon Mothma. Like, you only see her for 2 seconds in A New Hope. You see her in Rogue One, but it's like you get to see a whole other side of these people. You forget this is the rest of the universe besides the Skywalkers, and you have to think. And this is a good way to imagine it. So every main Star Wars movie starts with a galaxy far, far away, right? A long time ago. It's like someone else is telling the story, correct? Someone else is telling the story, right? And that's what it is. We're actually living that real life with Andor and Rogue One and Mandalorian. No one's telling us the story this time. This is us there when it's happening. So you could actually think of a darker, grittier version of all the Star Wars stuff, but we're kind of getting a happier storyteller version through the main stories, the main movies. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep. So I love Andor. I love it. Love it. I want more. I can't wait for it to keep going. House of the Dragon.
I mentioned I'm watching. I was just gonna say I mentioned I'm watching a show called The Patient with Steve Carell and Domhnall Gleeson, and it took a real dark turn this week. But this is about I'll just say it is about a serial killer who abducts his therapist and chains him in his house, and that Steve Carell is the therapist, and Steve Carell is kind of that. He's a comedian, really, and it's kind of hard to you don't see the darkness coming because Steve Carell plays things kind of light. But wow, if that's your thing, fantastic. I am not caught up on the Lord of the Rings. I have not seen the latest episode from this week. Yeah.
Well, then I'll shut up about it. I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I'll just say one thing. It felt like it was the end of the season. The way they were doing things, it felt like an end of the season, but to the point where like, no, this can't be the end of the season. But really, it's the last episode is coming Friday, so there's one more.
Yeah. Yep.
So it might be better for you to wait if you can, and then like binge both at the same time. I don't know. Since it's Halloween, I've been watching the Saw movies. I actually went through the first. Well, actually, I skipped the first one because I've seen the first one so many times. I'm like, I'm going to skip it. I went to the second one, which is one of my favorites. And those.
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Saw Jigsaw, the prequel. That's the first time I ever watched that one. I watched that one last night. The best way to describe the Saw films, it's kind of like a roller coaster. You start off good, you go up, second one's great, third one's pretty good, but that's when it starts falling. 4, 5, 6 is like meh.
Yeah. 6
gets a little bit better. Then you have 7, which is called Saw 3D. So it's got these, the shots look like they were for a 3D camera, but it's not, you can't see the 3D anymore. And then Jigsaw was really good. But then they had the Chris Rock Spiral Book of Jigsaw movie come out, and that was horrible compared to the Jigsaw movie from 2018. But I love those movies. It's bad acting here or there. I like to see the traps, the gore. That's what I come for. Is this is the deaths. That's the kind of person I am when it comes to horror movies. One thing that I'm looking forward to reviewing for next week is the werewolf movie or show from Marvel. It's on Disney Plus.
What's that?
Werewolf of Night. It's supposed to be really good.
I have not heard of this.
Oh my gosh, check it. Werewolf. And then Hellraiser on Hulu. I'll be watching that this weekend, so I'll talk about that next episode.
Is that a remake?
Yes. Reboot.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Werewolf by Night?
Yes, Werewolf by Night. That's a brand new IP, or at least maybe from the comics from Marvel. That's supposed to be really good.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think that's it for our TV news. You want to talk about our topic of our experience playing Phasmophobia.
I am so glad you introduced me to this because we had a ball.
Oh, it was so much fun. We were
going to play one session. We played 4 sessions.
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because did you watch anyone play this game before we got on there?
No, I knew what it was. I knew it was about ghost hunting. Here's what hit me that I thought was kind of cool is I thought it was about like capturing the ghost or something. And what it really is you're sort of living the life of a ghost hunter. You're trying to capture evidence of the ghost, and you've got all these tools, and you're trying to. And so there's also like this methodical. Hey, we need to eliminate different options. But let's try salt. Let's try this. Let's try that. That's really cool to me.
Yes.
That's really neat. You don't have to try to catch it. You don't have to survive. It's just a matter of, well, you do have to survive.
Yes.
But it's like, hey, get in and get out.
Yeah.
If you can. The creepiness factor is fantastic. I mean, this game is honed to perfection. What would I change about it? I don't know. Like in a future world where we're living in the Unreal 5 engine and the graphics are turned all the way up to like ultra realism, I think it would take it up a notch. But for now, this is awesome.
I mean, you could play it in VR. I don't think I could play this in VR because I'd be like, oh God.
Yeah.
And just for a second, anyone who's watched or listening to this, email us your thoughts of the game or an actual haunting experience you might have had at emails@pausebuttongaming.com. Please let us know what you think or what you've done if you've played Phasmophobia or if you've had any haunting experiences, if you think ghosts are real or not. The great thing about this game is it's not just ghosts. It's like a whole slew of different mythical ghosts you have to process and eliminate, like demons, Oni, a djinn. And so it's like we have to use all of our tools in this game to go into a house, a barn, an insane asylum. We didn't get there because there was some sort of glitch with Bob's game where it was locked onto the first level, which is not a bad thing. We had a blast on that first level.
Yeah.
I think
we learned it really well.
You have to learn the ropes of how it is, because you go in, you can't run. There's no weapons. I mean, you can run for a short amount of time. There's no weapons. You have tools. You can only carry 3 at a time. It uses the environment. Great sound design. I love the audio in it for local talking. Like we're standing next to each other. We can hear ourselves, but it sounds like we're really in that room with each other. Or we have a comm system, so we can be in another part of the house or in the truck that we start off and we can hear each other talk.
You have to remember to hit the transmit button when you're far away, and then the voice sounds like it's coming over the radio, which is really cool.
Yep, and different.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's different ghosts that stalk you. You have to figure out what it is, and they look different. They're pretty creepy looking. And I recorded all of it, so you have to look on storytimegamer.com to see our sessions as we're playing, and I think we'll record more in the future too. But yeah, it's so cool. I died. Bob died.
Oh man. Well, what was funny is playing it for the very first time, and you don't know what the ghost is supposed to look like.
Right.
And so you see something, and I thought it was you at first, and I realized it wasn't, and then just started screaming, started running. And then you find out the front door is locked, which is a real dick move by the developers. And then I couldn't get out the second time. I don't know if I was supposed to fish the keys out of your dead body when you got killed.
Maybe.
That was cool, man. I love the lore behind all the ghosts. So like they don't just lay it all out for you. The checklist makes it really easy to eliminate the ghosts that definitely aren't there. But then you got to drill into them a little bit. Like we found out that one ghost reacts to electrical devices, and that's why our camera kept going out. So I'm in the truck watching your view of the camera, like trying to give you a play-by-play, and then I start shouting, Eric, the camera's fuzzing out, but you can't hear me, and I can't hear you because the ghost has disabled stuff, and I'm like in the truck screaming, Eric.
I'm holding the handy cam and the ghost is right there. I'm not moving because I'm afraid if I move, it's going to start stalking me. And he's just there breathing heavily, distorting everything. I'm like, Bob, it's coming after me. It's right here. And you're like, Eric, get out of there. I mean,
it would have been funny to have both of our audios. Like we couldn't hear each other. We're just screaming.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a very simple game. And that's what I love about it. It's so simple. I watched it when it came out last year. The graphics have gotten better. The game system has gotten better, but you can watch people who started playing this and streaming it October of 2021. And it's amazing of what it was then and how much it's grown since. And it's just it shows that you don't have to have crazy graphics and crazy action or even a real story to it. It's just an experience. I played it solo.
I love the base that you start out in. Yeah. And it's got all the stuff you've collected, the spines and the Ouija board and all that stuff. And then at the shop where you can buy all the different things that used to hunt ghosts. You got a crucifix. You got a book that the ghost can write in if it likes to write on things. Ghost salt, which I think is way too expensive, but I get it. It's special ghost salt.
Yeah, he took a footstep. We got a footstep.
Yeah, you got the pegboard with the multiple cameras and the multiples of everything. That's like, it feels like you're in a ghost hunter's base. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, what Bob's talking about is that we had a digital camera, so he went in and took photos. And every time we took a photo, it'd show up on our pegboard in our base near the house so we can look at it back in the truck in safety. Because the truck and outside the house is the only safe zone. Otherwise, you're primed to get haunted and taken by the ghost. And it's really creepy because fingers pop out behind your camera and they close over you, and then you're like in the ghost world. I love it. Oh, it's so good. It's so much. And
I died. I'm yelling at you, Eric, and then I realize you can't hear me.
Yeah,
because I guess I'm a ghost.
Yeah, you become a ghost. You can see me, and you can see the ghost stalking. It's like you're in the other dimension. And what I like about this game is that you start being able to tell stories of your experience to other people, and it becomes like it's its own found footage movie or its own ghost hunter movie or show. I love it.
I can't wait to see you get those episodes up. I'm going to watch those episodes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch them again. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because it's interesting to see yourself play through it again. Like, oh my gosh, or like there's something I missed, and it's just so much fun. I mean, can you recall any game that's that immersive?
Oh man, I feel like Left 4 Dead back when it first came out and we played it as a group, kind of felt like that. Like you're all in this situation, you don't know what's going to happen. No, I don't know if I've ever played anything that quite gives me this sense of immersion.
Yeah, because we're taking it so seriously. I mean, we're having fun, but it's like, all right, I'm going to go check the breaker, and we're trying to talk to each other on comms, and it feels like we're walking around with comms on. Like, all right, I'm going downstairs. All right, check. Oh, wait, where are you? Oh, no. It's really fun. The more people you have, I think it's more fun. It's creepy solo as well, and I encourage you to play it solo at some point.
I'll probably give it a shot, yeah.
What else can we talk about it? I mean, it's just, if you haven't yet played it or can't play it, do watch someone else play it. It's like watching a horror movie. There's people out there that are hardcore players. They have a lot of experience and they know exactly, they kind of like narrow down how the mechanics work. It's not predictable, which is why I like it. You could say it's roguelite because it's different every time you go in. Here's the basic mechanics, but it's never the same. And that's the fun of the mystery.
I'm fascinated by the voice recognition. So you can give commands. I'm actually looking at a wiki page, how to speak to ghosts. So you can say, what do you want? Why are you here? Do you want to hurt us? There's a whole list of questions that you can ask that the game recognizes.
Oh, we're going to have to use that next time. I didn't realize that because I thought it was just like,
let me send this to you.
Yeah, send that. No, we'll have to do that because we'll definitely need to make sure that we're saying the right things to piss them off. Because, I came to a point where like, okay, we know what it is, but do you want to try ticking it off one more time just to get some footage? Get it on camera, take another picture.
So there's ghost questions, there's spirit box questions, there's Ouija board questions. Who did you kill? Yes.
The spirit box question, that would be helpful.
Things you can say to also trigger a ghost. I'm scared. Show your presence. I mean, the fact that this game, I don't know that I've ever played a game that has voice recognition built into it.
Yeah, not a good one. No, this is pretty spot on. Because you have to say a name. That's something we forgot to say. There is a name for the ghost. The game starts off with, here's the name of the ghost. It'll say like, here's a hint. It likes to, when you're alone. It doesn't like it when you're alone. It doesn't give you much to figure out. So that's why you have to go and investigate and figure out that puzzle of what kind of spirit it is. So we're running around saying like, David Martinez, are you here? And, it's a bunch of that, but it's so cool. I love it. I can't wait to play more.
This says, don't forget that saying a ghost's name will make it super upset. So only say it when you really want it to appear.
Okay. So that means whenever we're setting up, because you have a setup time, we don't need to be shouting out the ghost's name until we're like ready to go.
Yeah.
Because it might come and get us a little bit earlier than we're still like grabbing stuff from the truck. All right. Well,
that's awesome.
That is awesome. Anything else you want to say about it?
More to come. No, man. I can't wait to play again.
Yeah, more to come. I think everybody should watch us play it. Once I post the videos, I'll be posting it around the same time that this podcast comes out. And with that, thanks for listening to Pause Button. Like, subscribe, follow on YouTube and Apple Podcasts.
And send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. Have a great week, and don't forget, when life gets hectic, sometimes you need to hit the pause button.